Oh boy, that was a really interesting game, everybody. I'll stick with interesting so that I don't get us demonetized. Thanks,
Don't get
thank you.
as demonetized.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining us for Emerald City Hockey's post game live. 2-1 Kraken OT win over the Sharks. It doesn't even sound right. But the important thing is, all jokes aside, and we'll talk about everything that went on in this one, the Kraken did walk out of San Jose with 2 points. And that is really, really important. Actually, in the grand scheme of things today, things not too terrible for the Kraken. Nashville losing in regulation, Winnipeg losing in regulation. These 2 points are pretty impactful for the standings. It allows Seattle to have a little bit more of a cushion there in that wild card spots, which is where they find themselves right now because Edmonton keeps winning. But yeah, I mean, the bottom line story, RJ, needed 2 points, got 2 points.
Yeah, I mean, as Alex is saying in chat here, found a way. I mean, it was that simple, really. I mean, we'll break down, everything about this game and the areas where it probably wasn't up to par, but they get the 2 points, and that was what mattered most. You can't walk out of San Jose with anything less than that in this game. They got a little bit of help, as you mentioned, from the teams below them. No help from the teams above them, really. So they needed to keep pace with this one, and they did.
Yeah, it's yep, they did what they had to do. It wasn't pretty, but they got the job done, and I guess at the end of the day, that's what really all that matters. And let's talk about getting that job done, RJ. Vince Dunn, OT winner. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, he has been on fire recently. I mean, if you're not aware of that, you haven't been following the team over the last month or so. I mean, Vince Dunn, 11-game point streak, franchise record, team leading point scorer, and then comes up big in overtime, really creating that goal by himself. I mean, that's not, an exceptionally dangerous chance or shot where that is, but he puts it hard enough along the ice, catches James Reimer off guard, and puts it right between the legs. So, I mean, those are the kind of plays that have just been going for Vince Dunn recently.
Right. And it was an OT period that was like, it started off just about as bad as it possibly could with Wenberg.
I know Wenberg breaks
stick.
his stick on the faceoff. You're like, oh, great. It's been one of those games. It's going to be one of those games. You feel like.
Yeah, but you know what? The Kraken, they did their OT thing. You know what I mean? Like they took chances when they felt that they could afford to. Otherwise, once they had possession of the puck, it was don't give up possession of the puck. We can't, you can't lose if they don't control the puck. And thankfully, the Kraken got a little better about, well, you also can't win unless you shoot the puck. They are shooting the puck. Jared McCann had one that was just like blistering. You could not even see that puck. It came off his stick so fast. And then obviously that game winner from Vince Dunn, a beautiful play there. Really happy about that one. And then I think, though, for me, even bigger than the OT winner, the story of this game is Philip Grubauer. Philip Grubauer was a wall in net. He kept this team in a game that at times it did not look like they belonged in. I mean, he was outstanding tonight, 969 save percentage. He was everything they needed him to be and more.
Right, and they really did need him to step up and be a wall in this game. I mean, I think the Sharks, if you factor in quality and everything, I think the Sharks outplayed the Kraken in this one. And certainly as far as high danger chances, you look at the Sharks, according to Money Puck, over 3 expected goals in this game. They end the game with just 1. That's Philip Grubauer's doing, saving over 2 goals above expected in this one. And that kind of seems to match the eye test for me. You look at just the breakaways allowed, the penalty shot that does go in, that's the only one that beats him. So nothing in the run of ordinary play got past Philip Grubauer. And then, I mean, a penalty shot, that's always going to be tough to defend.
Yeah.
But yeah, he kind of stole a game for the Kraken in this one. I mean, it's weird to think about your goalie having to steal you a game against San Jose, but that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, it is exactly what happened in front of the dozens of Sharks fans in attendance tonight. I had to get one in there, RJ. I just had to.
I know, you're absolutely right. I mean, it was pretty sparse in there.
That is one of the lowest attended NHL games I've seen that wasn't like, oh, it's in the Northeast during a big winter storm. Like it was, it was rough. Steve Dog kicking off chat with the let's go. Absolutely. Schultz, I know we got the win, but would it be too much trouble to ask the Kraken to play like a playoff team? I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit. Braun, not thrilled to be honest, but happy to get one. Buck, this is what happens when you shoot the puck. It is. Happy to get those shots in
Maybe a little
overtime.
message at a certain other Kraken player.
Hey, look, his stick broke. What was he supposed to do? Marini, well, at least it was certainly better than last time. I mean, it's saying something when this game was like definitely better than the last game in San Jose, because this game was not pretty. Tammy on board with us with the big Gru. Joshua absolutely needed that one. We did indeed, Joshua. Good energy and speed from Bjorky, from Braun. I mean, yeah, I mean, we haven't even talked about the goal from Bjorkstrand in the third period to tie the game after that penalty shot goal from Eklund and the San Jose Sharks. I mean, Bjorkstrand, he hasn't been necessarily as hot as Vince Dunn or even Jared McCann during that stretch, but he's coming through with this goal every other game pace right now, and the Kraken have needed them.
For sure. I mean, he's been shooting a lot better. He's got that trademark kind of high glove shot there as a right-hander. And when he hits that spot, it's near impossible for a goalie to stop. And it feels like when he has a lot of time and space, like he did on that breakaway, he's confident enough to try and hit that spot pretty regularly. And we've seen that from him kind of more and more often as the season's gone on. But also the awareness, too, to take off and put himself in a position to get on that breakaway. Yes. That pass from Yanni Gourde was a thing of beauty. And to see that play developing, to know it's coming, but that takes both players to be on the same wavelength. When you're setting that up, you need both guys knowing exactly what's going on. And Bjorkstrand and Gourde just kind of shared a mind there, and it came together in a really good way.
They've played a lot of hockey together along the way. And, you talk about the great setup there from Gourde. How about the setup to Gourde from Adam Larsson getting that secondary assist? It contributed. But yes, it was a big moment for Bjorkstrand. Happy to see it. Happy for him again after all the struggles he's gone through this season. Up to 15 goals. I mean, it's. I love it. I love to see it. Declan, I'll give a kidney for a regulation win. All the overtimes are starting to give me a heart condition. Just trade out one organ for the other. It's fine.
Yeah, you got 2 kidneys. That's a good trade.
Yeah. Sarah, we got to re-sign Dunn ASAP. I still think that's the first thing Ron Francis does come off season time, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's being pushed off to the off season, but he's got to do. You feel like the price is only going up. They should have re-signed him a month ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say that maybe got a better deal. First win with less than 3 goals this year, according to Chris. Is that right?
Probably. I mean, again, if you only get 2, which is rare for this Kraken team, I think.
Yeah.
Then you're going to need a shutout or just allowing 1 from your goalie. And given the way that this Kraken team has gone this season, it would surprise me if there was another game that fit that description.
It would surprise me, but at the same time, I still have partly like Kraken season 1 brain. And so the idea that like that this team would have as many wins as they do and be as successful as they have been without having to just grind out a game at some point and really steal one with their goaltender. I mean, it just shows how far they've come, how big the additions from this last offseason have been, including Oliver Bjorkstrand. It's been really, really awesome. Krakenok never quit. They just don't quit. Great win, boys. Story of this team all year long, RJ. I feel like I've been talking about this since October, probably because I have been, but it is that this team never lets up. They never say die, all of that good stuff. And, again, should you need to have that mindset and have it come through for you against this San Jose Sharks team? No, I was going to say probably not, but the answer is no, you shouldn't. But when they needed it, it was there and they were able to get the win anyway. And that is what is important. AL, big efforts from Gru and Bjorky. Love the comeback. Stratic and Gru, we trust. Absolutely. Dunner with the OTGWG from Evan. I know, a favorite of the broadcast. Lots of interesting back and forths between Edzo and Forsland tonight on that broadcast. I mean, there always is, but there's a lot. Jules, even though we got a win, should we be worried that we win into overtime against the Sharks? So here it is.
Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. We're 10 minutes in. Jules is asking the question. Yeah, I'm worried. Like, I was ready. If they lost this game, I was going to say, forget, like, where are we? Like, is the glass open over the panic button, hand over the panic button? That was going to be like, no, we've pressed the panic button, hand off the panic button. We've already pressed it. Like, we're there. In this, I mean, this is like, I don't know. This did not instill confidence for me, RJ. I know things were good as far as like Nashville and Winnipeg losing. Kraken do get the 2 points, but like this was the easy layup game you needed, especially before you got to go play Edmonton on Saturday.
Right. I mean, this Sharks team, they're bad. They're very bad. This is a
Mm-hmm.
team that got only 5 standings points in the last month of hockey. And the next lowest team was Columbus at 13. I mean,
Yeah.
that tells you just how bad this Sharks team has been. And I didn't think they played particularly well tonight, in a way that kind of forced the Kraken into anything. They did all right. Like they gave a good effort given the skill that they had, but this is not a game that should even be close. And the Kraken, again, they just had this sleepy first period that kind of set the tone for everything. They gave up a
Mm-hmm.
lot of high quality chances. There were
Yeah.
so many opportunities where a better team would have burned them easily burned them, whether it's that 2-on-0 earlier in the game, the multiple breakaways that happened against Philip Grubauer. Again, credit to Grubauer for
Mm-hmm.
saving those, but against a playoff team, I think the Kraken get blown out with this kind of effort.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's not what's going to get it done down this home stretch as you're trying to make the playoffs, and then certainly looking ahead to the playoffs. Like that's like you really can't show up with that. It has been an issue of the Kraken kind of all season long that they can play up to their level of competition, but also they can sometimes play down to their level of competition. This obviously being an example of the latter, and it's got to stop. Like this is the time of year where that can't continue. And you know what? Maybe it's not continuing either because they weren't able to play up to Dallas's level in the last game either. I mean, this is yeah, it's worrying. You avoided the 4-game losing streak. That's awesome. That's really cool. We kept that whole thing going, but this could have looked better and it should have probably looked better. Krakenhawk Hack needs to get his guys to do a better job connecting on passes. They can't pass this poorly against Edmonton on Saturday like they were tonight. It's a pivotal game. They need to do better. It's definitely a pivotal game as far as trying to be the 3rd seed. I still think that is the ultimate like most important thing that the Kraken need to be focused on right now is getting out of a wild card spot, get into that 3rd seed, try to get a first round matchup against a Kings team rather than having to go to either Vegas or Dallas. That seems way worse to me. And yes, that Edmonton game, I mean, it could be something that a month from now we look back on and say, well, that was it. That was the reason they made it or they didn't in that 3rd seed. Could be this game upcoming on Saturday. Passing has been something that we've talked about a lot this season, RJ. The problem is there's no like easy, good fix for it.
Yeah, it's really just kind of reps, and I think this might be one of the effects of the team really not getting a whole lot of practice in. And I think part of that is the necessity of the schedule and just how packed things are recently, where yeah, your passing can get a little bit sloppy when you're not practicing that a ton. But there's trade-offs with the team's decision not to practice, as much as they do. And I think you get a lot of benefits going into the playoffs as far as guys being fresher. The fact that Kraken have been uncommonly healthy this season. I mean, you look at just how healthy they've been. I think that's been a big effect, and we can't really, overstate that because, if you're missing, we see what missing Burakovsky has done for this team.
Right.
Imagine just plucking 2 or 3 other players off that team. But still, it does create these effects where maybe your passing goes a little stale sometimes, where you just need to get those reps in that you're not getting.
Right, exactly. But still some positives. Get back some good vibes here with some talk about some more love for Dunn, Sarah, the Dundertaker. I love all the fun names the radio broadcasters use when a player scores. Dace, thank God for Dunn, a real rough day for every forward, but the Gord line, Eberle in particular, squandered a number of great chances. I mean, Ebbs had a couple rough patches there. The Jaden Schwartz thing, when Reimer is like totally out of his net, totally stuck, you gotta just fire the puck. I know you're looking for like some clean angle, but like the bottom line is, as we know, and we talked about this a couple games ago or a couple days ago with that Dallas game, right? Defensemen can go into the net, they can protect the net there, and that's what happened in that sequence. I was screaming.
I know that one. I mean, yeah, let's talk about that one. I mean, Jaden Schwartz, what was the beneficiary of a nice bounce there as James Reimer went out of his net.
Yeah.
He had a fair amount of net to shoot out at the very beginning when Reimer does this kind of move his hands back, flop toward the net thing. He actually takes up a good amount of net.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of froze Jaden Schwartz for a second. So I understand holding off for a little bit there. But if you look at the freeze frame, the next shark is so far from him.
Yeah.
And so he freezes there, scoots in a little bit more. And at that point, Reimer's out of the equation. You just have two shark skaters in the crease. And I know that can look intimidating at times, but I just think of like the old golf adage about trees. Oh, it's 90% air. I mean, it probably is. There's a lot of room to go to shoot there. Yeah, I think he just kind of psyched himself out on that one, and he just waits until he gets his pocket picked from behind. That just can't happen.
Right. My thing is to like, look, I get it. You're worried about taking the shot that doesn't go in, but the bottom line is if it's not going to go in, it's a loose rebound in the crease with a goalie flopping around on his belly. That's still a fabulous chance to have. You know what I mean? Like you could maybe follow up. If you shoot and immediately start booking it towards the net, there's a good chance you're going to get a chance to jab away at that rebound. So yeah, I think bottom line is that's you have to send it. There's no way around it. You just got to send that puck.
Can I say one more thing about that play?
Yeah.
I am so glad that it was not Alex Wenberg, because he would never live it down.
He wouldn't. That's a very good point. That is definitely.
So I was point. That was my one, silver lining of thankfulness that it was not Alex Wenberg.
Yes. Striatic, the worst part was the Sharks didn't even really look good. Not like they surprised the Kraken with a good game. This was pure playing down to their level. I will say this, Erik Karlsson looked really good.
Yeah, he certainly looked good. Yeah, he was definitely the player out there that, I mean, he's having a Norris caliber season. It should be no surprise that he was able to do some of the things he was doing. But again, as the Sharks' position in the standings has showed, it's not enough, or it shouldn't be enough.
Yeah, no, it is a team sport, as we all know. Otherwise, McDavid would have as many cups as he has points, basically. Just they're somewhere in that vicinity. Some of those passes were straight to Sharks players from Declan. I know it's just the passing has just been an issue. Al crazy with Wenberg starting overtime with no stick. I'll come back to that for a long time, because like I know we mentioned it right off the draw, but like haha joke. But still, I mean it is a wild way to start an overtime that you end up winning.
So unlucky.
Yep. James, hate to be a downer after that game, but I miss early season Kraken when we were scoring 4 a game and Beniers was a lightning rod. Just me, or has Matty completely stopped looking to shoot on the power play especially? So it feels like this has been something that keeps coming up in these post-game lives. Just about every game or so. We've talked about it both kind of on the same page. If it does feel like he hit a rookie wall, maybe there's some confidence there as far as when to shoot and take the shots. But bottom line is he still plays fantastic when he's out there. He's still there. I feel like their best, most creative offensive weapon, and the defense is rock solid.
Yeah. And you look at his line, and as much as it was kind of a rough game, from an expected goal standpoint, you look at his line, they did very well. I'm trying to pull up the numbers here, but his line, 81% expected goal share in this one. Yeah. That McCann Beniers Eberle line, again, it'd be nice to get a finish there somewhere, but still, I mean, the fact that they allowed almost nothing against, that's a pretty good effort there. So I think he's, as far as the difference making, game breaking type of plays, I think he is kind of struggling to find those, and that's to be expected from a player his age, but the underlying stuff is still really good.
Yeah. So I'm still not worried. He's awesome. We're just so lucky. Yeah. He's just going to keep getting better season after season here. It's really cool. Lindsay, I hated that game. The only good part was the ending. Just awful play. Awful to play like that against San Jose. Thank God we got the 2 points, or I'd be really upset. I think we're all in that same boat. But here we go. I was ready for this. I was prepared. Gregory, lemon lime Gatorade time, baby. The Dundertaker is going to get paid big time. No arguments there.
There it is. There's that lemon lime Gatorade. Ready for the win.
2 points tastes so good, RJ. It's nice. It's sugary right before bedtime. I love it. Daniel. I mean, can we just all agree that 7:30 starts are the worst? I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
I
there's
think
some
I
out
think we
there
can
who
all be
enjoy
on board
them,
with
but
that one.
oh boy, they're rough. Daniel, 8-5-1 over the next 14 to get to 100 points. Still something I believe in them doing. You only got to be slightly above 500 there. It
Yeah.
is possible. All right, got a super chat here from Absurdly Sane, reminding everybody, don't forget to like the stream. Appreciate it, Absurdly Sane, really do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now I gotta find out, where was I? Where's my boy Canner with his 2-goal games from Declan? I know he's cooled off a little bit. That was a pretty torrid pace he was on. Jay, what was with that penalty shot? Chat, I heard a rumor that liking the stream will stave off BS calls like that penalty shot. Love it, Jay.
Interesting rumor there.
It's an interesting rumor. I can't deny it though. What did you think of the whole penalty shot thing? I mean, it deserved it.
I was gonna say, yeah, you might not like this, but I think it was the right call. I mean, that penalty was definitely from behind. He was on a breakaway. That's the rule. So again, the hook comes from like clearly behind him. He's kind of reaching around there. It would deserve to be a penalty shot.
Yeah, it did. I felt like, I saw some stuff on Twitter about the officiating. I thought the only thing that bugged me was that it was a little inconsistent in that, like, the first period, they seemed to be calling everything. And then after that, they were just like, play hockey.
Yeah, and sometimes refs
right.
will do like, okay, set the tone early, make sure, all right, none of you break the rules, anything's gonna go, and then like kind of let it go. It's something that we do see. I mean, I know there were some complaints on the broadcast about missed calls and such. I thought they got just about everything. The one was, I guess, that hook on Bjorkstrand's hands, and when you're already just gone to the power play, refs are going to be really, hesitant to call anything. The replay shows it, but still.
I was going to say, and it's like, what, 7 minutes left in a tie game in the third period, and it would give them a 5-on-3. I don't know many refs that are going to call that. Like, that's pretty, we know that. You know what I mean?
And like as far as complaining about it, like, the Kraken shouldn't be in that situation where they need that to begin with.
Yes, that's
not in this one.
Yes, if you're going to worry about that, that's more just like you got other things to be worrying about. Jake, first star, grew. I mean, he absolutely deserves it. Like to see. Well, actually, he didn't even get any of the spots. When Vince Dunn, William Eklund, Oliver Bjorkstrand. Criminal. Well, he better get the hat. That's all I could say.
Yep, he needs the hat now.
Absolutely needs the hat. I don't even know how you do that. Flames did manage to defeat the Golden Knights, somehow keeping their playoff chances on life support from Strayatic. I don't know. I know, man. Let's see. Edward, is it common for the NHL to schedule games to be played in a library?
I mean, hey, there was a good library in a swamp in Florida somewhere for many years that they played plenty of games in.
Yeah. Daniel, Hockey Gods got the score of Kraken v Sharks confused with Flames versus Golden Knights. I'd buy that in this one.
Yeah.
Also, I am going to give a shout out to the San Jose Public Library System because I did spend the early years of my life there, and it is a fantastic public library system. I didn't realize that they had taken over SAP Center, but you know what? Good for them. Just we haven't in a little while, so.
Oh,
can you reach in?
There she is.
Can you reach in? Get it. There we go.
Yes.
Get some treats for dogs, Scoy. It's been a little while. We'll say those are from Absurdly Sane. I'm good with that. Let's see. Lindsay, that wasn't very cash money of San Jose to play that hard this late in the season. Just awful tank awareness on their part, losing in overtime.
It's been a thing all season for them. I have some Sharks fan friends, and there was a great texts that I got from them. Just this stupid team, and then another one said this stupid team. I didn't realize that was also the last message I sent you. Sorry.
Oh man, I love that. Jake, good work from Ebbs to keep possession. Yes, I mean that is ultimately what leads to the Kraken winning in overtime. Just savvy veteran play.
Yeah, and what he tries to do is kind of bump it back toward his own side, and then he didn't really. I think he just kind of mishit it, didn't bring it far enough, and so it created this one-on-one battle with Barabanov there, and he really had to fight for that. It took a couple different tries, but again, changing the possession there that decided the game. I mean, that's what set up the Dunn shot. And if the Sharks get possession back, you never know when you're going to get possession.
Oh, for sure. Daniel bringing up a very interesting point here. Not sure how the Flames scored 7 in one game. I know it wasn't this game, but like I got to shout that out because it is kind of odd.
Yeah, no, you don't usually see that.
Lindsay, if Gruby doesn't get the hat tonight, we riot. I would believe that. Days Dylan, I really thought Grubauer was getting your clean sheet tonight. I thought he was going to be able to do it too. If it wasn't for that stinky penalty shot, which we agree it was legitimate, but like, I mean, he played well enough for it. He really did. James, critiques aside, Beniers gave Ebbs and McCann multiple grade 8 chances tonight. Yeah, kind of backing up what the numbers seem to indicate. Greg, honestly, don't think we've looked bad aside from not shooting on open nets. Reimer just sort of owns us. So what's the deal with this, RJ? James Reimer just Kraken, he's just got us.
Yeah, he has the Kraken's number, clearly. Shut them out last time in San Jose. And I think he hadn't allowed one since the first period of the game before that. Yeah, I've something about James Reimer and the Kraken. And I mean, welcome to this part of following hockey, everybody, because this is something I think he's probably the first goalie you can really say this for. Some goalies just have certain teams' numbers, and you ask people in any fan base, like, all right, who's the goalie that just like owns your team? They can all name somebody. If they were following the team long enough, like, oh yeah, it's this guy. And yeah, James Reimer just happens to be the answer for the Kraken. I don't know why.
He's our unbeatable guy. It's
no Reimer reason.
Great.
He just happens to have the number.
You always love when that player happens to be in the division.
Well, he might not be in the division much longer. Contracts up at the end of the year. We'll have to keep an eye on that in free agency. Where does he sign?
Just give him a ton of money to go to Coachella Valley. Let's just do it.
There we go.
Tammy, the Gord line brings so much energy. That pass from Gordo to Bjorky was so pretty. I mean, that line has been at times, really anytime the Kraken dip, RJ, or at least until this current Beniers line got going. I mean, that was the line that kept the Kraken in games, kept them going, just as, saying, bringing the energy.
Always. I mean, you can set your watch to that line. It's just so solid. You always know what you're going to get. And as a coach, for Dave Haxtell to just have that at his disposal and kind of put them out when you need just a tone setting or just a reset kind of shift. I mean, it's huge for them. Yeah.
No, I love that move where we psych out the Sharks by sending out only 2 skaters with sticks in overtime, completely rattled them. It is interesting because like they never, obviously, because the OT just kept going until Dunn eventually scored. I never saw a replay of what exactly happened. Like if his stick really got chopped down on, or if it got leveraged between skates, or what caused it, because it broke really far down close to the blade there.
Right. I think he was just kind of leaning down on it. He had his hands just, really low on it. I didn't see anything.
He snapped it, you think?
Well, I mean, you put a lot of pressure between that and the ice as you turn. That's what it looked like to me. I haven't seen a good replay of it. Actually, I could pull it up right now really fast.
Yeah.
So I've got the video clips from overtime, but
let's see here. Daniel Schwartz seemed to look totally lost tonight, no matter the situation. It wasn't his best game, that is for sure. Edmonton game on Saturday will be huger than huge, season defining in my opinion. From Lindsay, I would agree with that. Daniel, was that the softest penalty shot ruling you guys have seen? Probably not.
No, I've seen much softer.
Yeah. Striatic, one positive. Yes, the Sharks don't have a great power play, but the Kraken PK did look strong again tonight. Absolutely. Like, this was a game, I can't remember a game, RJ, in which there was 5, opportunities for the two teams to have power plays, and I can't recall like a moment from any of them.
Like, I know there were no real
I was like, what happened?
Yeah, there were no real defining chances. The only one I remember was when they went to Gordon the bumper spot and kind of set up that good chance early for the Kraken. But I can't remember any real solid chances for the Sharks on their power plays. And it's a good bounce back game. I was given the opponent, I was hoping this would be a bounce back game for the Kraken in as many respects as possible.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't that in a lot of ways, but for the PK, I think this was a really good bounce back game for them.
Hey, a big one and an important one was a bounce back game for Grubauer. And if this is what it took to get Grubauer going again and just to be rock solid again, as they're going to need him to be, certainly on Saturday, where presumably he would get the start, that's enough. But
Yep.
yes, having the PK get good again is definitely something that'll help them out down the stretch. Duthan with the super chat, thank you very much. Shout out for stopping the losing streak at 3 again. It's remarkable, RJ. I already went on the record. I said they were going to win tonight. I said they will not have a 4+ game losing streak this season. They're keeping me a man of my word, RJ.
And I took the opportunity to hop on that last post game too. This is a team that just does not lose 4 games in a row. For whatever reason, after 3 games, I mean, I was going to say everyone just like takes the message and plays better. I don't know if you could say that about this game, but they do enough to get it done. I mean, every single time this has happened a few times this season where our finger just hovers over the panic button. And in this game, for sure, it was getting ready to press it. And then Vince Dunn just snatches the arm away.
Yeah.
It always happens.
Yep, it really does. I saw this as I was scrolling back up from Lindsay regarding Reimer owning us. It's a well-known fact that Kraken are scared of rhymes. That's why sailors sing sea shanties. I just made that up, but now it's canon. I believe it. I think you're right. That sounds right to me.
I think so.
Makes total sense.
All right, it's canon now.
There we go. Hockey Bob, we don't know how many players are playing with injuries, even if they haven't been on IR. I mean, it's certainly the case with, every hockey team, every NHL team this time of year. Everybody is playing hurt in some respect, right? And there's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured. And during the regular season, you'll see players play hurt. And then come the playoffs, you'll see them play injured. And it's obvious when they're playing injured. But yeah, it's just an 82-game season of this fast physical sports. It's probably too much. It's probably not good for the human body, but it is what it is. And yeah, anytime you're approaching 70 games of that, it's a lot on a body.
Yeah, that 82 game number was not decided by doctors or anyone, familiar with, with what the human body can withstand. And so you have teams, again, just trying to deal with that differing reality of what's best for your players and how many games are on the schedule.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a local reference or just a fun one from Edward, but this Kraken OT win was brought to you by Dunn's Lumber.
That's good. And yes, it's a local reference. You'll see, Dunn's Lumber all around here. They've got a bunch of locations in the Seattle area.
I love it. Daniel asking, does Reimer have an over 970 save percentage against us for the year? Was he in net for that Sharks game that you were at?
Yes, he was. He got the shutout there.
Then he has to. There's no way.
Yeah, right? And I think they were quoting mid-game that, like, as of that point, he had like a 987 or something against the Kraken, and 4 games all time. I mean, it's not just this season; it's his entire career against the Kraken.
It's absolutely wild. Sabak, if Gru continues to carry us, we can crawl to the finish line. I agree with you. I mean, goalies getting hot, whether it's playoff time or it's down the stretch. You and I have both seen it be the difference maker for teams. So yes, if Gru is going to get hot like this, I'm for it. It'll be what they need. Hopefully it's enough to get them back up into third in the division.
Yeah, and it's a team that we were saying at the beginning kind of is more built to have goaltending carry them at times rather than just outscoring their problems.
Yeah, 11 downstream. Finally, sorry everybody. Finally, some muscle on the roster in John Hayden. I'm
glad you brought up John Hayden. So thank you, 11 downstream, because I wanted to talk about John Hayden in this one.
Go for it.
All right, cool. So I like the physical element that he brought, and this is where you're starting to see that transition toward playoff style hockey and what's going to help you in the playoffs. And you saw it right away with that hit on Logan Couture, where Couture even landed a little bit awkwardly. He seemed like he was okay, but those are the kinds of hits that really add up during a playoff series. Mm-hmm. We just talked about players playing hurt, playing injured, and how it can affect their performance. That's what having a forward who gets in there on the forecheck and finishes his checks does to a team over a 7-game series, where you're having players who are not playing at 100% because they've taken bumps and bruises. Ideally, it's great if you can keep that clean, like Hayden did on the Couture hit. Other players maybe don't always do that, but that's an element that Hayden brings that the Kraken really just don't have a lot of. They don't have those big hitters, especially forwards that go in and finish their checks all the time, and that other defensemen and even forwards like Couture have to deal with. And then we saw it a few minutes later too, where he takes those coincidental penalties, where he goes, gets into a scrum right by the net after the play and takes Mario Ferraro off the ice with him. Ferraro, top 3 defenseman for the Sharks, probably their second best defenseman. And you get that trade of him for John Hayden for a couple minutes. I mean, that is a win in the Kraken's book. So little things like that. Hayden's a very smart player. He knows exactly what he's doing when he does both of those things. And you can see that's going to help a lot in a playoff series. Dave Haxtell knows that. Ron Francis knows that. That's why he was called up from Coachella Valley. And I think he's going to be here to stay.
Preach, man. That is just copy paste. I agree. Let's go. Yeah, I was happy to see him get brought back up and get back in the lineup. And I think it goes back to what Haxtell was talking about what was that, probably 2-3 weeks ago now. But the idea of what that bottom line needs to be for the Kraken as you get closer to playoff time and start looking at the playoffs, and you need guys like that who are going to do that job for you. And so it was unsurprising to me that they went ahead and brought him back up, comes in for a Daniel Sprong or something like that, and gets it going. But yeah, I felt like again, he doesn't play a ton, 632, but it still felt like his presence it was felt, I guess I should say.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Dog can't agree as an East Coaster that 7:30 starts are rough. Well, thank you. I know Joshua was in here earlier. I mean, that is commitment from you guys. Stay up and join us on these post games. Definitely thank you. And anybody else who's watching from from any time zone. I mean, it's still 10:42 for us here on the West Coast. 97 people still in chat. So really appreciate it, everybody. Rebecca, about to drive home from the game. What an overtime thriller. Donato jersey confirmed, not cursed. Let's go.
All right. Love to hear that.
Yes, happy about that for sure, Rebecca. Glad you got a good game there. Even got a little more than you were initially paying for with the OT.
Free hockey.
Yep, never a bad thing. Thaddeus, do we need to name a captain for a playoff push?
I don't think so. They've gotten this far without one. And I did actually kind of have a long think today. I think it started like when I was taking a shower, and I was just like, you have your shower thoughts. And I was thinking, if I could go back knowing what I know now to the start of the season and, name a captain, would I do it? Even having the benefit of a whole season's worth of knowledge? I don't think I would.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Hashtag RJ's shower thoughts.
Let's not. We don't need to get that started.
Do that.
I haven't finished with the greasy yet.
That's right, everybody. We got to bring that back. Yeah, it's too late this season to do that now. Like this is the time of year where you don't want to do anything that could upset the apple cart. I doubt naming a captain would, other than just the idea of like going in and talking to the group of the players and like stealing their focus away from working on whatever it is they want to be working on or you want them working on to try to pick and choose a captain this late in the season. It's probably not something that they're going to do. This is a group though that doesn't lack for leaders. Like they have leaders everywhere, and it does seem like it's kind of a team that likes to have I'm like totally spacing on the phrase, but different groups have different leaders. Like
leadership by committee. I mean,
exactly. Thank you. Because you got like a guy like an Adam Larson working with the defensemen. You've got guys like an Eberle or Jaden Schwartz working with the forwards in different ways. Yanni Gord mentoring the younger centers and helping them on things like faceoff. So it is very much, it seems like it's a leadership by committee situation, and they seem to be working just fine that way.
Yeah.
Rebecca, my friend, is now 2-0 for Kraken wins. She's in the passenger seat, obsessively rewatching the highlight of Reimer's adventures out of the net and cackling. Got it. Post-game vibes are strong. Friends got to go with you to every game now at SAP Center. Absolutely. 2-0 record there. That is rock solid.
Can't argue with that.
Let's see. Really looking forward to the Tolvanen revenge double header. Oh, I didn't even think about that for those Nashville games.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
Yep.
gonna be juicy. What?
I know.
Hey,
I'm excited for that.
nobody looking to the Jeremy Lauzon revenge double. You know what? I can honestly say, RJ, I hope Jeremy Lauzon goes out there and plays the most Jeremy Lauzon games he can.
Yep. Be every bit of you that you can be, Jeremy Lauzon,
Yep,
and we'll get to see the difference in, what a second rounder buys you versus what you can get for free.
exactly. God, it's crazy. Gregory, 3 stars. Grubauer, and Dunn. I see. That's what I would have voted for if I could have. Jay, unfortunately, Saturday is another blue line ticket package game. We'll be booing the refs and chanting about how bad they call the game, but it's been a lot less. It's been a lot of bad losses for us. I'm sorry about that, Jay. Hopefully things can turn around. I mean, it's a big one. I think they're gonna be showing up for it though. The
Yeah,
Kraken,
I
like
mean,
they
how could and I
understand.
think we haven't talked about this yet, but I think there's a temptation maybe with this game on the schedule to almost kind of look past it to that Oilers game and know how
Mhm.
important of a game that is, and maybe you do start thinking about Edmonton a little bit while you're in San Jose.
Yeah, that is a good point. Super chat here from CR Bud. How's it going, man? Sorry if this has been asked. Any updates on Berkey?
No updates on Berkey. It was asked each of the last 2 days that the Kraken were here in Seattle, and I think Hackstall's kind of getting tired of the question, to be honest.
Oh man. Let's see. Ty, you know the game has weird vibes when Edzo is quiet, lol. He was incognito in the third. Quick has fallen from his honeymoon status, giving up 6 tonight. Lastly, Will Big Hustle Borgen, you know, Dylan? Yes. I know. I Will Borgen had a good one in this one. It was when was that? That was late in the third, right? When I think it was Matty said that pass over to him. I thought like, oh, this is it. And then I don't know which shark it was got a stick in there, but it was like, oh, but good on Borgen getting back. Yeah, the Edzo thing, it was an interesting game all the way around. Was JT even a part of the broadcast?
Yeah, I heard
I
him
know.
a few
I
times,
know.
but yeah, it's
Uh,
just so crowded with all three of them.
Yeah. And then here, let me shed my crocodile tears for Jonathan Quick and the Vegas Golden Knights. There we go. You get that? Shame our big rival is on the Sharks from Declan. Yeah, I mean, well, I guess thankfully it's on the Sharks, so it can kind of out like
Yeah,
the rest of the
won't
Sharks
face him in a
offset it.
playoff series at least. Yeah.
Yes. Um, yeah, it's still an interesting one though. It's because all the sea creatures, there's something there. It's got to draw us together.
Yeah.
Cameron, sneakiest team in the National Hockey League. Good night. Good night, Cameron. Oh, streakiest, excuse me. Sneakiest. I was gonna say, are we sneaky? I mean, we're on the West Coast, so that makes us
Yeah,
sneaky
yeah.
to the mainstream guys. Uh Let's see. Ty. Also, Canner's shot is insane. Dude is bouncing wristers off the wall to the top of the circle. Go try to do that, lol. Wow. I'm telling you, Ty, from that first time I saw it live in practice, I was just amazed. And he instantly went into my top tier category of Corey Perry, Tyler Sagan, Austin Matthews, and Jared McCann. Like those are just wrist shots that are just ludicrously fast. I don't understand how doing like this motion they can do that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I know it's a treat getting to see it just in practice and morning skates just all the time. It's a
Mhm.
level above anybody else on the team.
Yep. Care to guess how many shots on goal Jared McCann had tonight, RJ?
On goal, uh,
Shots on goal, yes.
2.
8.
Okay, I'm way wrong. I just thought I remembered him missing the net a lot, so I figured, oh, I saw him shooting a ton, but I guess they did land.
Yeah, I think a lot of those were on that one power play. Like he had like 3 in about 10 seconds on that one power play. It was like, what? Any chance we see Drigger called up anytime soon from Jay there?
I mean, they are monitoring how he's doing in Coachella Valley. I mean, he did have another a win as the Firebirds clinched a playoff spot, which again, congrats to them. Great for that organization. But yeah, I mean, basically, Ron Francis, the latest we have is that they're going to kind of take a wait and see attitude to see how he's looking in Coachella Valley, if he's ready. There's no roster size limit, so they can call him up without having to do anything with Jones. It's just a matter of, do they feel he's ready?
Yeah, and they are the only ones who can decide that. Speaking of Martin Jones, Declan, just imagine if we played Jones. No, thank you.
Nope, I'm not
Jay,
going to think about that.
another reminder to you, 105 beautiful people watching. Give the stream a like so other hockey fans can find RJ and Dylan. Really appreciate it, Jay. Ty, Hayden Geeks and Turbo, Smash Bros. Line. I love it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Yep.
Just in time for the movie. It's perfect. Kyle, can we afford the depth forwards to be that when the top six aren't scoring? So yes, talking about that fourth line, be playing more that way. Normally I would say yes, it's on the top six to score, and you have the depth lines be that way. Top six, though, I mean, they have been streaky. Like the team has been streaky, but the top six has been streaky too. Again, we're looking at guys like Vince Dunn, a defenseman, stepping up and scoring the big goal for us tonight. And talking about Oliver Bjorkstrand being the guy to step up and score the big goal tonight. It's how the Kraken have kind of won and gotten along through most of the season, RJ. But it is one of those things that, like, yeah, really on paper, if you look at it, it shouldn't be that way. It's not the ideal way you want to have your roster kind of constructed and playing.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at the fourth line tonight, though. Again, depending on how everything's constructed, there can be a lot of benefit if you can just make sure they go out there, they tilt the ice in their favor, and you don't have to worry about things. I mean, I'm looking at the stats here. That the fourth line was on the ice for 0.08 expected goals against, so maybe like one little shot attempt or something. They really didn't allow anything. They spent, it seemed like they spent most of the time in the neutral or offensive zone. And again, over a playoff series, there's that physical element that, yes, the goal scoring is obviously huge, but if you don't bring that physical element, the other team is just going to be a lot less banged up than you by the end of the series. Exactly.
And we've seen that be the deciding factor, especially if you're going to push a series to go 6 or 7. Like, it is a lot. This is for anyone. If you close your eyes and visualize a Kraken win on Saturday over the Oilers, what does it look like? From Striatic there. I'm doing it, and what I'm imagining is like beautiful, like golden sunset rays kind of coming in through the windows. The Kraken are all celebrating on the ice.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it'll only be maybe 4 o'clock. It's not even gonna be close to sunset. But let's see. I mean,
I forget how far north you are.
Yeah, well, it's a 1 o'clock start time. So,
yeah, I know.
But yeah, I mean, that's a good question, though. I mean, like, what do they have to do? I picture Connor McDavid finishes with 1 point. We'll start with that. I think he's getting like 1 or 5. You've mostly kept him to the outside. I picture the Oilers having had 1 or 2 power plays all game, probably like 1. If they get 2, I worry about it. And I think you kind of play most of the game at even strength. I picture, maybe I was deciding 3-2 or 4-3 win. It's going to be close. But really, it's about keeping the Oilers stars in check, because if you play the way that you did tonight and you give Edmonton the kind of chances that you gave San Jose with the breakaways and the odd man rushes, the D zone turnovers that give them space, if instead of Alexander Barabanov or Noah Gregor coming in at you, it's Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl, they're going to score a lot more often than not. So it's limiting those types of things.
Hey, you don't know that. It could be Cody Ceci.
Yeah, or only turn the puck over to Cody Ceci. There's my advice. That's what it looks like.
A
million turnovers to Cody Ceci, and the Oilers are like, how did he not score?
Yeah. Here's what it looks like. I close my eyes. I picture what it looks like. It looks like a Jack Campbell start for the Oilers.
Okay, well, there you go. I mean, Stratic says I'm visualizing a bad night from Skinner. So, I mean, that's, similar thing, I guess.
Yeah, that's probably what I'm going with for that one. Declan, I have to get up for work in 4 hours, but I'm not going to miss the ECH post game. I appreciate it so much, Declan.
Love the commitment there, Declan.
Definitely putting the saint word right in there in your name there. Patrick Woot, I was scorekeeping in Kent. Glad to walk out and see we won. Yes, we did, Patrick. It was a good one. Lindsay, predictions for the D on Saturday. Will we continue with the Magna Mania, or is it time to let loose the Seuss?
That's a good question. Well, what did you think for Magna tonight?
I didn't even realize he was playing, to be honest.
That's how you know it's a Magna game.
Yep.
And you know what? That's against the Oilers. Wouldn't you like a defenseman where you didn't even realize he played in the game? So I wouldn't be surprised to see them stick with him.
Yeah.
Although I could see them wanting. I mean, they both bring a bit of a physical element. I don't know. They bring similar things, and this is why we talk trade deadline wise about how you might even be able to move Susie, because the team doesn't look all that different depending on who's in.
Yeah, I mean, they defend differently in the sense that, like, we've talked about this before. I'm a big fan of how Magna defends the blue line and helps try to keep the other team from entering the zone, kind of contributes to that neutral zone, like mush and quagmire, whatever you want to call it, that the Kraken, I think, should do more of. So I'm always in favor of Magna over Susie, just because I just think the places he picks and chooses to be more aggressive are the things that I tend to prefer from an X's and O's standpoint. So I'll never have an issue with Magna, but I could see them kind of going with Susie, especially after kind of, this game wasn't this decisive victory that it maybe should have been.
Yeah. Intimidate the Oilers too. We know they think highly of him.
Yep. Donnie, y'all in chat, and Dylan and RJ make this playoff push so much fun. Don't forget to drop a 5-star review for our ECH fans on Apple Podcasts. Take care of our boys. Appreciate that shout out, Donnie. I saw that you left us a review. Bunch of people
I saw
left us
your
reviews.
review. Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Yeah, it definitely helps us out. Especially as we're gearing up for the playoffs here. A lot of Seattle fans are going to be interested in what's going on with the Kraken and getting involved, and we want to make sure that they can find us, so that we can give them the good coverage that they're going to want. Does Hayden stay with the Kraken for the remainder of the season and the playoffs? My guess is yes.
I think so. Again, we don't have any official confirmation on that, that's in the team's plans, but it would make a lot of sense to me. It seems like that's kind of what's going to happen.
Yeah. Keenan had to get to Dunn. How long would we want Berkey back before the playoffs to make sure we're clicking on all cylinders? 5 games, probably.
Yeah, 5 games would be ideal. Anything less, it may have to ramp up there, but again, we don't know a whole lot about his timeline, but if he's skating now, that should be doable.
Yeah. Let's see, Jay. Fun fact, I got blocked from the Preds subreddit because I said, thanks for putting Golden in on waivers. He's been really good for us. You know what? Of all the ways to get blocked on a subreddit, that is probably the only way you could have put in this and not gotten us demonetized. So thank you, Jay.
Yes, thank you.
I appreciate it. That's a good one, though. Like, that's a good story. I'm glad you shared that with us, Jay. Habak, will Gru probably start against the Oilers? Yes.
I would be very surprised if Jones got the start.
Let's see. Edward, having multiple lines that can score is like how the mighty Kraken has multiple tentacles with which to strike. See, they're just living up to the name.
I like that. I like that imagery.
I really like that. Glad I remembered last minute to wash the bad luck out of my jersey from Patrick. Definitely.
How last minute? Like, did you do that in overtime? I mean, was that?
Well, and Patrick was the one scorekeeping in Kent.
Okay, that's
so
right.
It had to be either really last minute or a little bit before. Jay, speaking of this, I may need to pull out the away Gord sweater for Saturday. It's still sitting at 9-0.
Hey, if ever there's a time to use it,
yep,
Saturday's it.
Definitely tie. It's needed.
It's needed.
Donnie, ECH postgame brought to you by Queen Anne Beer Hall. That's right. Do the thing, RJ.
There you go. Yes.
I love it. Stratic, Magna played a minute on the PK, and according to Natural Stat Trick, 0 high danger chances on any of the PKers. So thank you, Jacob, for your part in that. See, go with Magna. What did I say?
All right, there we go. Go with Magna. It's decided.
Yep. Lindsay, taking tomorrow off work was the best idea I've had in ages. Gonna sleep in so hard. Night all. Have a very happy St. Patrick's Day. That is right. I am so ready for it, RJ. I'm so ready. Believe it or not, everybody, I am like majority Irish.
Right? How are you going to celebrate?
Well, not by drinking. So already I've failed, I think, in the eyes of most of my kin and ancestors. So sorry. Kyle, question for RJ. Are the Kraken
Yes.
practice / morning skates open to the public, or can you only watch from 32 Bar and Grill?
So some of them are open to the public, others are not. I think you're going to see less of them open to the public now that we kind of approach playoff time and everything. I've just looked up the schedule real quick. The one yesterday, yeah, the practice yesterday was open to the public, so I remember that correctly. And then the next open practice, I believe, is March 29th, Wednesday, March 29th. So a couple weeks from now. And then also on the 30th. So those 2 days they'll be open to the public, and then they don't have the April schedule out yet. But as we kind of go forward, I think a lot of them are going to be, more closed to the public. It's just going to be the media. Again, coaches, they don't like a whole lot of people watching that stuff, when you're working on big tactics things. So, and then there won't be a morning skate for the game on Saturday.
Yeah, I remember from back when I was scouting, and I would scout sometimes at the same rink that the Ducks would practice at. Through most of the season, it was just like anybody could wander in there, like just nobody cared at all. And then come close to playoff time, it was like, okay, all of a sudden there's people standing at all the doors, you can't go in, and they would put up like stuff over all the windows too, so that you couldn't see in there and even look through the windows. So this time of year, yeah, they
I
tend to
think
get a
during
little
the
bit more
playoffs, they
secretive.
might even, I wouldn't be surprised to see them kind of close down 32 Bar and Grill just for the
I
timing of the skate.
I could see something like that too. I think that would make a lot of sense. Let's see, Tammy, I'm doing my part. No more games for me this year. I'm sorry, Tammy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everybody who ends up in that situation. Ty, I mean, it's everybody. It's so rough. Oh, you all deserve better. Let's see. Shay, hi friends. Your favorite Vince Dunn stand here to say extend him now. How's it going, Shay? Been a while.
Awesome. Thank you for gracing
Where
chat today,
I
Shay.
know. I know.
And what a good day to do it with Vince Dunn getting the OT winner. I mean, come on, you have to show up for that one.
Yeah, and you know what? We're right there with you. Absolutely. On board. Moment, just get it done, Ron. What is Ron having to focus on right now? It's post trade deadline. He's got a bunch of free time.
Yeah, no, there's
What's he
plenty
gonna
of
do?
time.
Scout? Come on.
I know you don't want distractions for the players or whatever, but if he just hands them a blank check, how much of a distraction is that? Just
Yeah,
sign
really.
it and get to work.
I was gonna say that's why you have an agent to do all that other stuff. You just have to
Yeah.
sign the paper. Jay, corned beef and cabbage? No.
I know,
No.
not for Dylan. I'll probably
I'm a
have some
picky
corned beef and
eater.
cabbage.
I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I'm terrible. See, this is why.
What about soda bread? Can we make that compromise? Have you ever tried Irish soda bread?
No, I would
Okay, maybe
probably
you'd
like
like
it.
it.
It's bread. It's
Yeah,
carbs. I
it's
love
bread. You'd be
that.
fine with it. You'd be fine with it. They had some good. They had Irish Fest over at Seattle Center this past
Oh,
weekend. They
nice.
had some good soda bread there. You would like it.
Why not this weekend?
It's French Fest this weekend, so I couldn't tell you.
What? All right, interesting. Drink Green Monster for St. Patty's Day, Dylan. Oh boy, I can't imagine what my system would do with something like that. This is kind of green. I could rock with them.
Yeah.
I mean, like in a toxic ooze kind of way. This is green. Kyle, thanks, RJ. I live about 2 minutes from KCI. My kid had a blast on Wednesday, but didn't know if we could get down there. Let's see. Guinness stew from Tammy. Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely a thing. It's
I was
really
gonna say,
good.
this is why when I said believe it or not, everybody, I'm majority Irish. This is why, because I don't drink, I don't eat any of the Irish food. It's like no, that's why nobody would think I was Irish. Shay, he got it done. Now Ronnie needs to get it done too. Give him what he wants. Ron's house, his car, keys to the city, all of it. I agree. If Vince is handed a blank check, maybe he misplaces the decimal and we get a steal of a deal from Striatic. See? It could
800,000 cap hit.
Let's go. League
Get a
minimum.
zero.
Oh
times
man.
80 years.
800,000 times 80. Oh
That's a
man.
Tampa Bay Lightning of a contract.
Yes, it really is. Tammy, my mom, who's pretty much 100% Irish, makes Guinness stew and Irish soda bread. It is great.
Mm.
Oh, congrats, Tammy. You're definitely making RJ jealous for sure. And then Donnie, you guys are hilarious on the Vince Dunn contract. I agree. Just let him sign. Nothing else is happening. See? So I'm just saying, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, he's got to focus on Coachella Valley and making sure guys like John Hayden are up for the Kraken, but like it's 24 hours in a day.
Yeah. I mean, price is only going up. I said it earlier.
Yep, that's right. Now is the time. All right, one more huge thanks to everybody. I mean, still 89 of you in here in chat. We are past 11 o'clock here on the West Coast, so I mean, for everybody to still be in here with us, celebrating this Kraken win, I say thank you. Thanks to everybody who graciously gave us a super chat. Thanks for everybody who was leaving us the good reviews on Apple Podcasts, and then certainly thanks for Queen Anne Beer Hall for sponsoring these. RJ, do you have any like last words of wisdom about St. Patrick's Day, about the Kraken against the Sharks, what they need to do against Edmonton?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll go with the chat here from Hockey Mom and chat. Visit Queen Anne Beer Hall for St. Patrick's Day. I mean, you know it's going to be bumping there. If it's going to be busy, so be ready for that. But if you're into that sort of thing, I mean, it's going to be awesome for St. Patrick's Day. And yeah, I mean, let's just enjoy this Oilers game. How much it's going to matter? Like you got to enjoy the ride on that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
also,
definitely.
there will be some cool festivities. I don't know if this has been announced publicly. I think it has, at least some of it, but there's going to be a let me look this up. The Kraken Hockey is for Everyone Fest from 11 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. At the Climate Pledge Arena Plaza, so right by the arena. They'll be like auctioning off some of Bowie's Hockey is for Everyone jerseys. They'll have like tables promoting some of the community work that local organizations are doing. They'll have a what is it called? The what is it? It's the truck. What's it called?
The truck.
Okay, the hockey United by Hockey Mobile Museum. They'll have that
Oh yeah,
along there, where you've got the whole mobile museum. Everett Fitzhugh is featured in it too, so that'll be pretty cool. But anyway, if you're going to that game, come early, starting at 11 o'clock. Check that stuff out. There's going to be a lot of events going on outside.
Definitely. Happy birthday to Pablo here in chat as well. And that's going to do it for us for this one, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you all after that big time Oilers game on Saturday. Oh, it's going to be huge.